You know what? Speaking of speculation, this is a topic that I think we're going to be speculating until we actually see what hits the field, because we go off the drafts, we go off the coaching staffs. At least the head coaches, as we talk now, coaching staffs. We'll talk later in the show. We're getting betting odds now.
Early.
DraftKings was the first to drop them, but of course, if it's a Fox property, Fox Bet's gotta get in there. You knew it was coming.
I mean,
you knew they were going to have something.
It only had to be, right?
You knew that they were going to get that. They were going to ask for that slice of the pie. It's in-house synergy, corporate Fox synergy, my friend.
I know
it was going to happen.
And
so, yeah, here we are. Betting odds.
I love to see it. I mean, we have a couple consistents. We have some really drastic variations because, like you mentioned, we have Fox Bet and we also have DraftKings. Now, there may be some other odds out there as well, but these are the two that are out there now. Now, before we go into them, we were joking about this before the show. There really is an opportunity, and I don't want to be the guy to promote gambling per se, but there is an opportunity if you are a person that likes sports wagers to make some money here. I mean, I remember back to the XFL, and do you know who all the sports books had leading at only losing 2 games the whole season? The Tampa Bay Vipers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That was very not only ominous, but yeah, I was expecting. I was trying to recollect back, and I'm like that there it is. Which is hilarious after the fact.
Oh yeah,
all the jokes that the Vipers get and Mark Trestman's bashing that people give him.
Yeah,
aside, hilarious.
I told all my friends in Vegas to go bet against that. I said just bet against that, and it's guaranteed money. I said realistically, it's the chances that they're going to lose 2 games is pretty high. Any team, right? Anyway. The favorites here, I mean, this one makes all the sense in the world. We have both Fox Bet and DraftKings share the same opinion. Odds slightly different, but we have the Michigan Panthers leading the pack. Now, to me, there's a couple reasons here. First is they arguably have maybe the biggest name coach in the league.
Yep.
2, which I don't think this should factor into gambling, but they also have the biggest following by any team.
Yeah.
Now that shouldn't factor in, but I think it does because using the Tampa Bay Vipers as an example, I think the only reason that they were ranked so high is because the Orlando Hotshots of the AAF did so well, and they weren't even related at all. That's my conspiracy theory. Now, I don't think the Panthers are necessarily going to end up like the Vipers here, but I definitely think there's some room. We're going to see these vary. We haven't even seen training camp. Clearly, one of the odds makers has to be wrong, right? At least with the rest of them, which we'll get
yeah, you would think. Look, these are spring football is such we've learned and seen is such an uncertain property to bet on until things hit the field anyway. You gotta see how this plays out. I think Jeff Fisher's a solid if you have no pun intended, solid gamble to make as an option if you were looking at a team that says, okay, veteran, pro coach has been to a Super Bowl, multiple AFC championships in the NFL. A few years away, he's back in the ringer, makes a draft that looks pretty solid on paper on both sides of the ball, or the 2 main sides of the ball, obviously special teams. Yeah, I mean, I put him up there too. I think odds makers say, "Oh, Jeff Fisher." All right, yeah. I mean, I'd be picking Jeff Fisher myself. I'm kind of surprised. This is where it's like surprising for 2 or 3 of the teams where I'm like, it's a bit of variation because, like, for example, the Bandits. Fox Bet has them at number 2, and Todd Haley's running that ship. Head coach has had a success as an offensive coordinator to a degree, has set up an offense that very much fits his skill set. Meanwhile, DraftKings has them at 5.
Right.
As championship odds, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got the Breakers.
This is the
Fox
one.
Bet.
This is the craziest one to me.
Yeah, freaking Breaker Nation is sitting here going, we're 8 on Fox. The own home site's got us at the bottom, but then DraftKings like, oh, they're 5. Or they're
number 2.
They're 2. I was thinking the Bandits. Yeah, they're 2 on DraftKings. See the variation there. Larry Fedora, college coach entirely. It's not even that concrete of a thing that I would put it down, but maybe it's for DraftKings that go, maybe, well, design a roster that's kind of around his setup. Maybe that's where we're looking at here. Everyone's got their own lines and setups. Each sports book puts it their own way, and they have different markers and their own system of setting up these odds makings.
Right.
So hard to say.
There's another thing they do kind of agree on a little bit, is that there's not much excitement about the Houston Gamblers because, they're in a 3-way tie over on DraftKings. The Generals, Stallions, and Gamblers, they're coming at 7 on Fox Bet. Again, we'll see. I'm a flip-flop. I don't even care. I will say it. We'll see what happens, who I'm rooting for this year. Right now, I'm still a Gamblers fan, and I think this is egregious, and I think there's going to be some movement here. But again, I can't fault the Panthers being in that top spot, right? You have the coach, the name, you have, the following doesn't necessarily matter, especially because there's really no home games for them, if you will. Now, unless you get to that championship game, you could have a lot of those Michigan Panthers fans show out, right? So we could see something interesting play out there. But overall, again, these are so early betting odds. We'll probably even see these variate throughout training practice, depending on, surely there's going to be news and notes and highlights. And, I don't want it to happen, but it's possible that an injury happens and you have to start shuffling around those rosters before the season even begins. And then especially as you get into week 1, I think we're going to see a good amount of movement in this list throughout the season. Yes. Realistically, 4 teams per division, it's going to be, unless one team just doesn't win at all, it's it's possible that one game separates teams from the postseason, right? So I don't know. It's fun to see the early ons. It'll be fun to look back at this again as we're nearing the playoffs, as we're heading into the championship, and see what was it before and where did it end up being. Because, it's almost 100% unlikely that either one of these got it 100% perfect this early on. But if you're a gambling man, that's where the money's made.
No doubt about it. I have not been as much. I will say myself, I will probably be more interested with the USFL in this instance to test out my gambling chops, perhaps. Again, gamble responsibly if you do. This isn't advocating anything. I'm just telling you that, you get into sports commentating and discussion, eventually it does come up, and it's becoming more popular across the U.S. It's going to be widespread at some point. That movement's happening already. It's been bound across the U.S. for many of the states. So, it's becoming more and more sports culture every day. So, it was going to happen. The XFL did a solid job at putting the lines there on for their games. Mm-hmm. The USFL is going that same route. And Fox is, we know, they've dived into it with Fox Bet and their own assets and pieces of their sports properties. So here we are. But spring football, completely volatile. So early lines. The Panthers, though, I like it. And actually looking at DraftKings, I misread this because the Bandits are number 2 on DraftKings as well for that board. See, here's what screws me up. DraftKings has it listed where they do so FoxBet does the columns where it's up and then back up and down again. DraftKings, it's zigzag.
It's like
pattern.
A snake, yeah.
So the Bandits are 2, the 2 consistent ones that odds makers on these sites like Panthers, Bandits. The Breakers have a lot of volatility. The Stallions have a lot of volatility apparently as well. So just things to keep in mind as we go. But yeah, it was going to come up. DraftKings was the first, FoxBet's the next. And you're going to have to make decisions on those lines as well.